Thanks, Director DeHart. Appreciate that. Just reviewing agenda tonight for everybody. We'll have approval of minutes, consent agenda, reports, presentations, and discussion items, public forum. So far, we have 8 written comments, and we have speakers coming up. We'll have board action items. We have student representatives, school board and superintendent comments, future agenda items, and future board meetings. And so with that said, I will ask for approval of the minutes.
I move that the Newburgh School Board pass the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. All right. Next up, consent agenda.
I will move that the Newburgh School District Board of Directors approve the consent agenda as presented. I'll second it.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Carries 7-0. Next up, reports, presentations, and discussion items. First one is an audit report from Polly Rogers and Company. And we have Luke Donaldson representing them.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I haven't been able to hear anyone in the boardroom. I am not able to hear you guys. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I haven't been able to hear anyone in the boardroom. No. No.
What about now? Nope.
I'm still not able to hear, but I mean, I could present without hearing if that's what we have to do.
Can you chat and you'll say, please start presenting?
I'm still not able to hear, but I mean, I could present without hearing. That's what we have to do. Okay, I'll just do that then. That works for everybody. Okay, so I'll just get started. So, threw me off a little bit, Elvis. But okay, I can say for probably this year, which both the district and our firm know, has been a lot more challenging than other years. And I kind of wanted to go through those reasons. But first, I'd like to thank Heather and her team. You guys have put in a lot of hard work this year to ensure that the district did fall within the compliance for state and federal regulations. The district books were not in a great place when Heather took over, and we both knew that from the beginning of this audit. And the new admin has really put in the time and effort to get this back on track, which has been great, and I would just like to thank them again. From our standpoint as a firm, this is more just a statewide as how this has been challenging. This year had a lot of things thrown at us that is uncommon for other years, like new GASB pronouncements, which was GASB 87, which was a lot of work for both the districts and the firms. And this was more than I think anyone understood and thought it would be at the time. There was LGIP impairments. There was new audit language. There was still a lot more single audits than usual, just due to more COVID money still being in the system, and a lot of turnover for both us Many districts have had this issue, which has led to these delays partially as well. So, but I can say, kind of moving on from that, that this is an unmodified opinion for this audit. This is a draft thus far, but usually these things are not going to change. These are the findings. This is not the numbers. So these are what we're focusing on for the audit, are these findings. So that an unmodified opinion means that is a clean opinion. That means that the district is within compliance. So with that being said, I'd like to kind of go through what would be on the board letter if this had been issued to this point. And we'll start off with best practices. And I would like to stress that these are recommendations. These are not findings for the district. And there's only one best practice that we're going to touch on, and that is that the cash exceeds fidelity insurance amounts. So that's for crime policies. This is a very common. I actually don't have a client that is a district that doesn't have this best practice. I like to make sure that the board is aware of their client, of their cash insurance policies. This is if someone was to steal, how much is insured. So I'm assuming you guys would like to know how much it is for you guys currently. It is $1 million. That is a fair amount. But to get insurance for a total amount of cash, or high amount of cash for districts, is extremely expensive and very hard. But we do like to make the board aware just so they know where that stands and they're comfortable with that. And since this is the first year, I'd like to bring that up. So now we'll just go on to the significant deficiencies. These are audit findings. So our first one was due to an investment account that me and Heather were working on. And it gets a little bit complicated with how impairments work and how the market works. But basically the market's always moving and you can get cash balances that don't match up with those investment accounts. And when you have a large investment accounts, that can become a lot of money where it doesn't match. It could be, in this case, it was a substantial amount. You'll be able to see within the financials. Me and Heather came up with a plan how to combat this and have this be written down to market value, either up or down, because it fluctuates both ways within periodic timelines, and put that into a procedure from now on. This is not anything that necessarily materially misstates the books, because Heather posted the journal entries, corrected the issue as it came up. A next one that we went through was through journal entries whenever we were testing on one of the federal single audits. Some of the journal entries had been done incorrectly. We found this through going and tying revenue to the state. I contacted Heather, and these were not entries that were during her time. We ran back through it, figured out what the issue was, had those corrected. And that as well is why this is not a higher issue. We have corrected these issues. We've talked about how there needs to be that full review and approval process for manual journal entries. And that is something that the district is aware of, and the new admin is working and doing correctly. So from there, those are the best practices. Those are the deficiencies that we found. There were lots of things that were done previously that were done incorrectly. That is why me and Heather have been working hard with the new admin to correct those issues, make sure everything's standardized. They're not being done a separate way just because that's been done in the past, and make sure that that's all done. It took a lot longer than it would usually due to those issues, but I think we're in a good place moving forward. And that's really all I have. I'll look in the chat to see if there's any questions that I can touch on.
Any questions on the board?
I guess, thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. I know this was a little weird because I couldn't hear anything. I'm sure there's other stuff going on, but I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you later.
All right, well, that was delayed reaction time there. We're gonna move on to bond updates, the mural and easements, and this is Casey Cunningham and Larry Hampton. Hi, Casey. Hey, Larry.
Thank you very much for having us. It's always exciting to be able to come to you guys and share all the good stuff that's going on in the district with the bond. Larry and I get to live it every day. You guys kind of get to see it from far. And we just want to kind of give you an insight on where we're at and kind of the successes that we're seeing and a couple challenges that we have. So we'll start with Edwards. You guys have probably saw that when you drove up. Pointing at someone. No, we're good. On. Okay. So Edwards, we couldn't be happier right now where we're at. We're right now just you can see right now, kind of cool light fixtures. We got in the new cafeteria there. They're polishing the floors. That's what those red machines are. We got paint. Our glue lamp ceiling right there is all stained. It's pretty much, kind of in the finishing touches as it goes, which, at this point in June, is a really, really good success story. And we have two of those right now that you'll see the high school later, where we have just, we're doing casework inside. They've started the curb and even some sidewalks for our new parking lot that'll be there coming off the street there. So, a lot of just early procurement. This is what we have two CMGC projects, which is our construction management contractor, which you guys, brought to you and got approved. And they have just proved amazing dividends. We have great teams who are just deeply committed to these projects. The procurement challenges that we saw with COVID, we were able to overcome, and we're under budget on both, which is, tremendous, right? So, I mean, that's, you couldn't write a story that would be better on both of these. And, for both of them to be going out at, a lot of times, Larry and I talked about this. We talked about whether or not we should have the same contractor do both. And we didn't really see the advantage. So we decided we'd pick the best teams. And when we picked those best teams, we ended up with a little bit of competition. They each wanted to kind of show each other up. And so, Larry and I both hear from how's Penn's doing? How's Skanska doing? So it's, it's really been beneficial to us, I think, to have those two different teams, and we couldn't be happier with them. So this kind of takes us to a kind of a key feature we've been talking to you guys about over the past year, which is the Edwards mural. I'll let Larry kind of speak to this. He's been more in depth with this.
Yeah, and we've had a committee that's worked on it. Renee's been with us, and we've gone through several stages. First of all, selecting the artist, and then working with him to come up with some ideas. We shared some ideas with him. He gave us some threw some things together. We reacted to that and suggested some changes, and we went back and forth a few times. The way we approached it was the top one is for the north building. We looked at that more as a Newburgh centric kind of mural, and not specific to the school, but just Newburgh kinds of things. And then the one below is for the south building, and that is more about Edwards itself, because it's going to be right there. As you come into the parking lot, you'll see it. And as you walk into the school, you'll see it. So looking for just kinds of themes and things that, would represent well. And so we actually came to agreement really quickly on the school one, on the lower one. The upper one, we didn't have disagreement. We just kind of went back and forth with the artist over just a few changes. And one of the things that was kind of fun was being able to take some basically photos of buildings and things in Newburgh that are kind of representative of Newburgh, and have him put those into the mural. So, the drive-in theater. Not a lot of towns have a drive-in theater anymore, so to show that, and there's City Hall and the library building and that kind of thing, as well as then some of the things in our area that are representative. So we're pretty excited about this. And ready to move ahead.
Yeah, I put the overlay of the site plan on there so you can see the north building. It's the far left side over there. Is where that top rendering would go. And then the other one in your packet, you guys have a little better picture of where that would go.
Yeah.
Kind of facing the parking lot there and kind of in that little nook. And just kind of, unfortunately, I got those renderings late, so I couldn't get them into this presentation, but just wanted you guys to have them see what they're. So our next steps are we got to, kind of go through a short land use period where there's an artistic team that reviews this just to make sure that, it has some care and has some thought and has a design aspect behind it, and it wasn't just thrown together. And so, but before we do that, we want to make sure you guys are good with us moving forward.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, with being on the committee and everything, with the artist, we did talk about having these panels that he was gonna paint at home, but that was found out was way over the budget. So he's gonna actually be on site, which could be, a little challenging for him, but kind of maybe fun for the community.
Yeah.
But as an artist, I'm sure that's gonna be really challenging for him, but, yeah, been really excited.
Yeah, Mary
for
Dolan,
that.
our PM, was telling me that he's gonna rent an Airbnb and be here the entire month.
Really?
Just live here and really just dive in on these
Yeah,
projects. So,
yeah.
Yeah, people in the neighborhood are excited about seeing it develop as it comes.
And then I did get, because I live in the area, and I received one of those letters that talk
To come
about.
to the meeting tomorrow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's another piece that the city requires is in their processes, we have to have a community meeting. And so we invited folks for actually tomorrow afternoon over at Edwards at 4:00. So.
Okay,
And
and then they
folks
just
in
kind
the
of give their
community can see.
input, kind of.
Yeah, it's
It's mostly because, some of these projects don't have an artist, they don't have a design committee, and there was very little thought put into it. And so it's, it can be kind of ugly, right? And so they just want to make sure that we're not putting something ugly on a building in the community.
okay. Moving on.
So Newburgh High School is our other CMGC project. It's hard to see if you guys don't actually drive back into the driveways over there, but you can see through the fence, see quite a bit of the progress. I wanted to kind of take some focus on some pictures, kind of showing you that these are, one of our science lab classrooms. You can see the casework that's there. And just the level of finish where we're at in June, like I said, is tremendous. We got a little bit of color in there with some green, we polished concrete floors to, kind of help our maintenance teams, a lot less work having to not have to polish those VCT floors. And moving on the middle picture, this is the kind of the courtyard of our CTE wing. So you got your 3 garage doors to our 3 different shops that are right there. And that area allows them to kind of bring projects outside, but also have better ventilation when the weather's good. So lots of benefits there. There's that kind of, you see the brick retaining wall there, and that's what you would see if you drove up right now, is there that kind of hides that area. So the programs in the past that you've been over there, their projects spill outside and then they don't always get back inside. So this will allow kind of that view to stay nice as it is right there. And it incorporates that facade of the building as it goes up. And then inside, you can kind of see one of the nice staircases there on the 2-story level with lots of daylight that we have coming in from both those ends. The daylighting is really a key aspect, for what we want to do. It, really, it brings the morale of the students up. So we make sure that that's ample in all of our spaces. You'll see that in Edwards as well. From the street, you can kind of see that big light tower that comes into the cafeteria there and whatnot. So.
Are we coming off the West Commons, like with a walkway?
Yeah,
there's a
check
bridge.
that picture.
There's a bridge across. So go out of the end of the West Commons and cross the bridge and be on the 2nd floor.
That's where we plan on doing our ribbon cutting, kind of like there, that transition to show that. there.
Larry, no more ivy.
It's pretty.
No, less
Well-
ivy, not no more ivy.
I'm afraid some of it will come back because that's just how wood ivy does, but we may fight it a little harder this time.
So Catalyst, the site plan itself has created its own challenges. It's hard to get around that building. So, everything's just moved a little slower there, but we're, as far as well, those our Edwards and high school projects are way ahead of a normal summer schedule. This one's right on. It's just, it looks like it's not quite as well ahead. And, we got storefront in, we got brick, we got, all of our major structural components. They're starting to put ceiling tile in, starting polished concrete as well. They're just not as far as the other two. One of the challenges there with, having Maple Rush right adjacent to is, keeping that bus lane open all year. And, that is, hindered them at times. And they had a sheet metal subcontractor that they had to find a new one right in the middle of the contractor. So that was, has set us back. You'll see a little bit of what we call blue skin out there, kind of that flashing that keeps the building dry. Most of our facades that you see now are brick and our metal. They're basically as for aesthetic purposes. The buildings are dried in once you see that blue layer on there. And so we're waiting for those metal panels. We talked to them this week. They're expecting the first delivery next week, and you'll start seeing that change shape pretty fast as well there. I want to show you Dundee. So we had the groundbreaking there back in May, and the site contractor, the trailers there, site contractors out there, they've started clearing and grubbing the land. We have our 1200C in hand. You'll start seeing that basically turn to dirt here in the next week or two.
Actually, just in the next few days, they'll be moving dirt. So,
just wanted to, we did a pre-construction aerial, kind of, what we've seen with some of our other projects where we kind of showed it bare ground, and we'll do a nice, time lapse over the next 15 months to kind of show how this takes shape. But it's a pretty, it's that nice rectangular shape that we got there, and the building takes up the majority of that, the middle of it, essentially. You can see a little gray spot. That's actually one of well, it's technically called a wetland. Now it's a dry land that doesn't grow anything, which is, very interesting. One of the construction challenges we come across is, understanding the nuances of land development. And, that took a little bit of time to nuance that wetland that's there. But that's right where the parking lot for the teacher, the teacher parking lot is, right where the wetland is. So right next door to us, this is our sale building, which was, our kind of a single family home that the district owned, that's now being transformed into this building that's going to be really cool on that corner there of Meridian. You can start to see the open footprint of the main. This is our teaching and learning area there that goes back into the kitchen. This serves multi-purpose for them. They can, host the entire classroom there. They can eat there. It's a space that they've never had before with this program. So they're really excited about, just kind of the open floor plan of it all. So we have all the windows are staged. It was sheeted half of it today, and the other half will be tomorrow. You'll start seeing the flashings and waterproofing layer go up, and then the windows next week. And we're looking to get that space turned over here in August and move them in as well. So some of we've already started our summer projects. Mountain View, we were fortunate enough to be able to take over that front lecture hall there. And that's where our new office space will be to create a more secure vestibule there. So they're in there. They've already started demo. You can see the new walls framing, the rough in is going in. And then out back, we were able to take over the footprint where the new covered play structure will be. And they've got the footing rebar there and get ready to pour that footing next week.
Tomorrow, actually.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
And so it's in really good shape. The other things that are going on there is we have our maker space that'll go on there. We have a seismic improvement kind of on the perimeter corners of the north side to kind of strengthen that building up. It's got a little bit of, it doesn't have shear walls. So we're going to shear up those corners and make it stronger during an earthquake. And then also some window kind of replace it. So we've had some window issues on those corners as well. So,
I'm talking about the gym floor at all.
oh yes. So that's one of our challenges.
Yes.
Is that Mountain View. So we have a gym floor that was showing signs of obviously it outlived its life. It started to bubble. There was some water intrusion that was getting up into that layer, and it was a glued down rubber floor about that thick. And so once that water gets to that layer, it just has nowhere else to go. So our initial thought was that we would take out the rubber, we'd put down some waterproofing, and then put down a new it's a composite wood floor. But that concrete had so much water in it that it degraded to a point where it wasn't stable enough. So now we're having to pull it out. The problem with that we didn't know is that the rubber floor has mercury in it. And so it becomes basically an abatement for an entire gym floor. And so that is a significant hit to our budget that it's within the budget that we had set for the project. So we're okay there. It's just a lot more money than we wanted to spend. It is also taking up time. Looks like that's going to go into September as it is. So.
Well, and we had hoped to start, the school had arranged for us to be able to actually start on it sooner in May. They were going to be outside for PE and everything so we could get that going. But then when we found out about the mercury, it's not high levels of mercury, it's very low, but it's enough that we still have to take care with it, and just didn't feel like it was something we could do safely to work on that while school was going. So we just said, no, we have to wait until school's out. And so that just put us back about a month. So it will mean on the other end that it'll go a little later.
So one of the benefits of getting our cover play done is we do have that area for the gym class during the month of September, is that kind of new cover play structure. So take advantage of that. So we also have 5 more summer projects that we're doing. It's a really busy summer here in Newburgh. Over all the schools are getting some level of makerspace team improvements, whether that's a new classroom space or a modification of the library to make room for it at all 5 of those locations. We're getting new cover play structure at Joan Austin, and office renovations at Maple Rush and Joanne Austin. And then also a seismic improvement at Maple Rush Gym, which if you guys have been by there was the glass block that's up there that's not structurally stable. So we'll take that out and put some structural reinforcements in there and then build out with some masonry. So. And that all starts on Monday. We got, this is our last week, kind of calm before the storm. And then we get after it pretty hard.
A lot of moving going on starting Thursday afternoon this week, Thursday and Friday, and over the weekend, and then contractors take over on Monday, and away we go. Very yeah.
I think, is that it? Oh no, there. Sorry. So then, budget update. Like I said, we're still in really good shape. Our current program contingency, after we've signed all of our contracts and we still have, contingencies within our projects, is at 3.97 million. All of our Edwards and the high school CMGC projects are below GMP and are intending to give back some money. We're going to use that money actually at the high school for our boiler replacement project. We currently have, is it 9 or 7 boilers?
Yeah, 8 or 9.
I think it's 9.
Yeah, just at the main campus, not
so small boilers,
other.
right? So with all the different additions, they just put a small boiler at each one. So we're going to basically create a central plant, which will be way better for maintenance. You have a little bit of redundancy there. We don't have not as reliable on small boilers that aren't as efficient. We're also taking advantage of some Energy Trust of Oregon and SB 1149 grants to get $160,000 back on that project by kind of upscaling those boilers as well, which makes them more efficient, like we said.
Well, and some of it, the current spot where the 2 kind of main boilers for the school are, you have to go upstairs, out a window of the library, across the roof, in a door, down. I mean, it's not the easiest place to get to. We've had a couple people, during the winter slip and fall on the slick roofing to get there, just to be able to check the boilers to see if they're working. Those boilers are getting to the end of life anyway. So this new boiler room will actually be on the ground level. It'll actually be accessible from the outside. Amazing, so we can actually get to things and work on it stuff. So pretty excited about this. It's not a, it's not a sexy thing, but it's going to be great. It's going to just, we have had so many.
Will ever see it. That's the bad,
right.
Bad things about these infrastructure projects is that no one in the audience will ever see these spoilers, but you will know they're working better when the comfort of the students. In
all the years, the 9 years that I've been in this job, we've been fighting the heat at the high school all along. And so to actually have things right sized, get rid of all the old junk, and have it accessible is a wonderful thing. So the other thing I'll say, we're, you know, also at Edwards, we're being able to do some extra things. And part of it is even the idea, you know, we're building these two really nice buildings, and it's right next to one of our older buildings. You know, the Edwards building was built in 89, not terribly old, but you know, it's starting to show its age. And so we're going to be able to do some projects on the outside of it just to make it look better and make it last better. And I think it'll fit nicely with those new buildings too.
A couple other things we're working on is some capital equipment purchases to support the bond. We get some lawnmowers and polished concrete auto scrubbers to make sure we keep our investments maintained. And then right now, currently, you know, Larry and I are planning next year's projects, working on some safety projects with door hardware replacements, and starting to get some of those pieces together that will help us, you know, kind of maintain the bond promise, but also, you know, make that dollar go a little further.
That's it, right?
That's all
Yeah,
we
that's it.
we didn't talk about Edwards. We did just want to speak a little bit. There was an existing water line that ran through the site.
Well, it
Oh,
is
that's
later in
sorry.
the,
Okay, you
yeah.
can touch on it later.
Yeah.
You could talk about it now and
Yeah.
then you don't have to come back up.
Okay.
Okay.
You can talk about it now and then vote on it then.
Yeah, so there was a existing water line that ran through the site. We've obviously had to improve that because of the site that's there. The city has recognized that they have a public water line on our property and have as part of our development agreement asked us to put together an easement that allows them access to it in the case of an emergency or, you know, anything like that. So that's basically is what we need approval on, is kind of their ability to come onto our site if they need to maintain the water line that's a pump that serves basically from all the way, you know.
Yeah,
down
it goes
from
all the
James
way
to-
across the
Yeah.
property. And this is very similar to, you know, we've approved easements for electrical, you know, a few different times and stuff too. And it's very similar. It's just, yeah, so that if something happens, they can come on the property and work on it. So
We need to get a vote on that tonight.
that's later in the agenda.
Okay. Guys, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Just, you know, as everybody gets older, not in case you're really young, you're like 30. But as everybody gets older and we have different people leaving and going, you know, been around so many different, you know, bond updates. Larry and I've been here for a long time. It's like, is there any chance through this whole process, you know, coming from both your angles to have, as it passes down, you know, some of the surprises and the secrets that are out there that they're there, and some of the things are going to be needed to be maintained and watched really closely for the next generation of people, you know, just kind of like a cheat sheet of stuff. Because I think one of the things we lose in public schools is that continuity of, you know, not everybody's in a job for 9 years. It's rare.
Yeah.
So,
You know, it's interesting you say that, because I mean, I always like the digitization of all of our plans and drawings and all of our O&M warranty manuals. It makes it where everyone can get to it, right? I mean, it's not just in one box somewhere where one person knows about it. And so that does help, because when more people know about where all those secrets are, it's so much more handy, right? Because then, you know, every maintenance tech that Larry you know, hires, or, you know, they can immediately tell them where to find this information, and that can be passed on to each person. Where before it was, you know, really you relied on that custodian to know where that box was. Or, I mean, when we started Creator, we went upstairs and there was just rolls of plans up there. You know, it's like, if we you know, when we're doing all this discovery, we're like, hey, we want that. Let's see what's in there we may not have in our archive. And so really, you know, we never knew if the archive was complete. So we digitized all of our old drawings. We're obviously digitizing all of our new drawings and our O&Ms. And we're also doing record drawings, which basically takes, you know, during the course of all these, before when we had mostly paper, we would just kind of cloud and put red lines where, you know, what changed. And it was up to that staff that was on site if they were good enough to put down that stuff. Now with our digitization, you know, the architect takes that information and they put it in, they make it what they call a record drawing, which incorporates all of those pieces, you know, during construction that we always lost, and puts that onto the actual drawing so that as we progress, we'll get that. So we have, you know, actively thought about that, you know, and how do we get better? And so, you know, we used Google Drive, which is, you know, kind of the platform that the district uses and everyone has access to put all those drawings on. And we've created, each individual project has its own 2021, 2022, 2023 project file that incorporates all the drawings, the contracts, and anything we can put down there, because you're absolutely right. I mean, it's so many times, I come into a new district and it's like, we're starting from scratch. And so, I mean, and the ones that have it better digitized, the better our drawings and the better the process and the faster it goes for us.
Yeah, we've asked for the final documents that we get. We do want like one set of paper plans for each of the projects, but otherwise everything else, and we want those also digitally, but all the O&M manuals and all that kind of thing. I mean, we literally have binders on every shelf you can find over in our office area, with O&Ms from past bond measures, and you're looking, they usually don't even say what year it was, and so you don't even, you're searching to find what is the right year and all that. So with all this, it'll be on the drive, everything there by school. The schools that are old that have several different sets of plans, all of those will be there. The updated as-built will be there. Just at the high school alone, there were so many things that were found and fixed in that hillside between where the existing building and the new building, and all that has been recorded on the plans as well. So we have so much better as-built just for that area now than we ever did before. So yeah, no, I think we're going to be in way better shape than we've ever been.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate that. That's the only question I had. Board, any other questions for you guys? We're let them go.
Just real quick for the outgoing members, it's been a pleasure to work with you guys on this bond. I mean, it's been, just to have your guys' support has been really, really appreciated. We hope that you'll join us for these ribbon cuttings as we get to in September.
In fact, I'll throw out there, I think the dates that we are aiming for, at least for the three big projects, basically that last week of August, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I think it's the 30th at Catalyst, the 31st at Edwards, and the 1st at the high school. And what we're trying to do is kind of put them together with celebrations or back to school nights or supply nights where people would already be coming, but to have the opportunity also to just see these nice things and celebrate together. So, yeah.
Well, Casey, we sure appreciate you a lot. Thanks for working with Larry. Oh, go ahead, Trevor. You got a question?
Yeah, Larry, as I go around the schools, especially CV, because I'm dropping and picking up my youngest daughter there all the time. But I've been to Mountain View and some of the other places around. We spend a lot of money when we do these projects, putting in landscaping, but it seems like we don't maintain it. Like CV looks terrible right now. And so my question is, do we have any funds? Is there a plan to rejuvenate our landscaping at these schools and a plan to maintain them?
I mean, the reality is we have 3 groundspeople for the whole district, and which isn't much. One of them, when our mowers are working, is mowing most of the time. So 2 really to do the other things. We part of it money wise, part of it is for that same reason. We don't irrigate a lot. Some of these things with the new, we're obligated to irrigate to help it at least get a good start so we'll stay alive. We have talked in these projects, shared with the planners from the beginning, when you plan the landscaping, plan for things that don't need lots of touches all the time, because we just don't have the ability to do it very much. But I mean, that is a challenge. Yeah. And we, again, this spring, we've had more of a challenge because mowers haven't worked and stuff like that. And so even when we were ready to and wanted to mow, we didn't have anything that worked, but we're getting beyond that now. But yeah, no, it's a challenge. There's those 3 guys are running all that, because they're not only doing that, but like graduation week last week, they're the ones that haul the chairs over to the high school. They are hauling the risers and chairs and everything to the schools when they have a concert or that kind of thing. So, in addition to keeping care of the grounds, they're, doing other kinds of activities as well. So it's a challenge.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
By Casey. Well, next up, we have OSAS results from Brittany Morales, and Jillian is coming up right now.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hey, guys.
Thank you. All right. Perfect, thank you. So it's nice to see everyone again. We represent the teaching and learning department, and one of our main goals is to support student achievement. And one of your guys' board goals is also to increase student achievement through statewide testing. And so I'm here to share our district success we've had in the last couple months with testing. And I want to just appreciate your guys' support and help in that. And I'm really looking forward to our presentation here. First thing we'll take a look at is participation. Looking at last year in the 21-22 school year, we had 186 students opt out of testing. This year, in the 2022-23 school year, we had 126. We always want to have our students participating so we can use those data points to further improve student achievement. And we're really proud of the work that our students put in, and we want the opportunity for them to share that and put in the work. So we're really excited about our student opt-out numbers, and we look forward to continuing to encourage our students to participate in statewide testing. So I want to take a quick moment to look at last year's student data, and those numbers that you see at the top of the bar chart there is the percentage of proficiency. And at the bottom, I focused on 3rd, 8th, and 11th. ELA stands for English Language Arts, and we have math. So you can take a look and see that the turquoise is our statewide, Oregon statewide scores. So we look at the 3rd grade ELA. Oregon's at about 40% proficiency for students in 3rd grade. Last year in Newburgh Public Schools, our students were at 51%. I do want to draw your attention to that last column at the end, 11th grade math. Statewide, Oregon students were at 20%, and Newburgh Public Schools is at 19%. If we go to our next slide, this is this year's data. I do want to just go ahead because I'm excited, jump to the 11th grade math. So yes, yeah. Yes. Yeah. There are so many individuals to thank for that, and also taking a look at our other data there. But 11th grade math, Oregon students are at 22%, Newburgh Public Schools 42%. That is huge. What you also will notice in the Newburgh Public Schools is that, again, that darker blue, all of our percentages are above the state average. Yes, another great one. Take a look at 8th grade math. 26% for statewide for Oregon, 39% for Newburgh Public Schools. What's exciting is that those numbers have jumped. And what excites me even more is the work we've put in this year, next year. And I hope to come back in about a year from now and have that second bar chart be even higher.
And I just want to draw your attention to a presentation we had a few months ago regarding our integrated plan, and that in 5 years, we said we would be at 95% for student achievement. And so we are on our way. And while we have made tremendous growth, we have a lot of work ahead of us. And we just really appreciate all the time and effort that our staff have put into supporting their students in their learning and instruction, and our students and their perseverance and ongoing positivity in school and attending class. So thank you everyone for these awesome results. We knew we could do it, and we have some more work to add.
Well, I'm so excited. We also made another graph for you. I also really enjoy this one. So again, this is last year's 21-22. What I like is those big numbers that show us, hey, we were above where the state was. You can see again in that 11th grade, we were below. And then the next slide, there's a lot of positives in there as well. You can see it breaks down the statewide compared to NPS. And again, like Jillian said, just a testament to everyone who works in this district in many different positions. Yeah. So here I wanted to quickly just kind of talk about the efforts and activities we were doing this year and our ongoing activities. For this year, we had a big focus on training on state and interim tests and tools available to support students. There is a lot of data, there is a lot of tools available for our staff, but it's a lot to kind of go through. And the work from our TOSAs and teaching learning department, we're able to identify, here are the tools we want to focus on for this year. We're going to continue that in the next year with focused training on accessing interim assessments. Support from our community partners was a big part of our success as well, which I'm going to speak about a little bit later. The administrator support in our buildings, our building administrators are the one who set the tone for each building, and they were completely invested in our student achievement. And it's been really wonderful to work with them. And of course, our classroom teachers, their dedication efforts to increase participation takes a lot of work. And we really want to acknowledge all the work they have done for our students and our community. Moving forward for our ongoing activities, we're going to continue from teaching and learning to provide training on curriculum, pacing within the classroom, best practices, continued work in our content leadership groups. I know we've spoken about our math leadership group, and they've done a lot of work, and we're going to continue that. You also know about the math adoption that's coming up the next school year. That's going to be a major focus to increase our math proficiency. It's going to be really helpful to all of us. And we've expanded the number of teachers in the math department, which is always needed. So I want to thank our finance office and your guys' support in that as well. Again, I do just want to, again, publicly to say thank you to our staff and students. Each school has a school test coordinator, and they're the logistics behind testing. All the logins, all of, is this student done? Is this student tested yet? So I really want to thank all those individuals who were school test coordinators. It's not a popular job to sign up for, but the people who did it were absolutely amazing and great to work with. Our school staff, I'm sure everyone knows their student's teacher and the work that those individuals put in. So I want to, from teaching learning, thank them as well, along with our educational assistants. They provide a lot of help as well in small groups. Also want to thank the office staff. I want to thank cafeteria workers to help our kids be fed and ready for their tests. Our test administrators, again, is the people who set up those tests and logistics behind it are absolutely crucial to our scores. And our TOSAs stand for Teachers on Special Assignment. We have a language TOSA, we have a reading TOSA, a science STEM TOSA, and a math TOSA. And those individuals are also our problem solvers in the field. So I really want to thank them for their work on this. And of course, student achievement, the word students. Of course, we want to thank our students, our 3rd through 8th graders, our 11th graders, our student reps. Thank you very much for your work and support.
I'm just going to take like another 10 seconds to brag on Brittany. Brittany joined my department in January. So I'm really excited to look forward to what the 23-24 school year brings when Brittany is here all year.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Oh, one more. Yeah, I want to also thank our community partners. The first group I have is our families, making sure students were there on time, making sure they had extra encouragement walking out the door. I want to thank all of our families for supporting students and this. The Newburgh Education Foundation was critical and essential to supporting us as well, along with the Newburgh Rotary. So I wanted to thank them as well. And Gem 100 and Dutch Bros, they helped to support our assessment celebrations. So I wanted to thank them as well. And yeah.
Hey, before you guys go, I just want everybody to know, we're talking to Jillian and Brittany. It's like, they're so excited about these numbers. But what excited me when I was listening to you guys was how excited you are about the hard work it's going to make these numbers go up again. And that's exciting for the future. So thanks for what you guys do. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you get to go home, Jillian.
I have a baby that's waiting or asleep. Maybe she's asleep.
Thanks, you guys. Next up, we have budget revisions and summary with Heather Bixby.
Okay, so budget revisions. This is prior to adopting the budget that was approved, we had a late change come in, and I have my stacks all messed up. So we had some additional revenue that we were not aware that we were getting. It was not previously budgeted for. And so we wanted to recognize that and make up in the budget some of the areas where we had cut. So what we have is we have an additional $40,000 in revenue that is coming from Dayton School District because they purchase additional services from Newburgh School District in OT. So that 40,000 we wanted to recognize in the budget. And we used it to offset expenditures in the general fund in fiscal services under training and supplies, EL classified wages, and a little bit additional in the fiscal classified wages to meet the roll-up costs. So I just wanted to point out that before the adoption happened, because the resolution includes those changes. So when you adopt the budget tonight, you're adopting it with this change and not per se the exact one that was approved by the budget committee. So is there any questions?
So this 40,000 additional income that's coming from Dayton, you were able to allocate some of these resources towards bodies in the building for teachers. Is that correct?
We used it for EL staff.
Okay.
So our English learners, the instructional assistants that help with those.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. You
Any
want
more
me to-
questions? Heather?
Okay, I'll jump right into the financial report. So the revenues and expenditure reports are in your board packet. We're still in really good shape, especially happy with the revenues in the general fund. We received that state school fund money that we were waiting on, which helped boost numbers there. Also our tax revenue, the local revenue that we bring in is a little bit higher than what was anticipated in the budget. So that was a good sign as well. And expenditures are still on target to be under what was budgeted. So any questions?
Any questions, everybody? Very good. Heather, thank you very much. Good. Okay, Scott Limber, we got first reading of policies.
So we have a first reading in our policies. The policy committee met last Tuesday on June 6th. There were just 4 policies that was brought forward to the committee. 2 of those are new policies and 2 of them are existing policies that we're just needing some update. Working with our WESD attorney, she recommended coming into the school year that we added these policies and have them in place.
Any questions on those, everybody? Got first reading, so we're good to go. Okay. Get my there. Okay. All right. We're at that point for public comments. I have 8 speakers here, so I'm just going to write through 1 through 8. And our first one up is Jose Ramirez Reyes. And so come on up.
You want a 2-minute time?
Yes, Jose, we got 2 minutes.
Hola. Hello, my name is Jose Ramirez. I use he, him pronouns. I'm here with Basic Rights Oregon. I want to congratulate the Newburgh School District on coming together to change the direction of their school board. I look forward to the incoming board and know they will do an amazing job. I will be here to see it through. I appreciate the collective effort of every community member who showed up because we, as a collective, are creating a more inclusive better future for Newburgh. We are seeing so much hatred nationally, and hatred permeates. It trickles down, and it forces us to fight for our existence. And my heart is full knowing that students and staff will be able to authentically express themselves and their identities without having to fight to do so. Shelley Kolb, Raquel Peregrino de Brito, Brian Shannon, and Dave Brown. I challenge you to reflect on your time on this board because your impact on Newburgh culminated on May 16th. We know what occurred here, we know what happened, and we know what it is. And that is your legacy here in Newburgh. Good luck in your future endeavors. And as far as you, Dr. Stevens, or whatever your name is, I know what this board's about to do. You're going to pass the parents' rights, and they're going to put a lot of authority to you. Let's not leave the same legacy behind.
Well, Jose, thank you very much. All right, our second speaker is Beth Kaiser.
Good evening. Oh man, I sit before a dynamic, amazing board. Each one of you were chosen for this time, this specific time in our city. And I thank you for everything that you did. I thank you for enduring all the harassment, all the hatred, all the venomous talk. I thank you for enduring that. I thank you for fighting for the kids. I thank you for being inclusive. Everyone's important to each one of you. And I know that for a fact because I've sat and I've talked with most of you. And I think the very best decision y'all made was hiring Steve Phillips. He's done an amazing, amazing job. He has made obviously he's made excellent hires. I mean, as Ruiz, I forgot it, Brittany was a new hire, and look what she's done. Those scores are amazing. This is what we want for our city. This is what we want for our students. This is what we want for our town. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you've done. I know it's going to be hard for Renee and Trevor to remain, but we will be there supporting you all the way through. I just see so much good happening, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. Next up, we have City Councilor Mike McBride.
Good evening. I just want to thank you for the leadership that you guys have shown. You faced some attacks that were, in my opinion, unjustified, but you stood your ground. And I thank you for that, because that's what a leader does. A leader stands their ground and does the right thing, regardless of what the noise is around them. But know this, there is a group of us in this town that are prayer warriors, and we will continue to pray. Renee, Trevor, Dr. Phillips, and the whole team, we are all going to be praying. And believe you me, there will be some changes that will be coming. And so I thank you for what you've done. I thank the team that Dr. Phillips has put together here. And so continue. Don't be afraid. Stay to your convictions and just do the right thing. And ask God always to lead and guide your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next up, we have Penny Radar.
Hello. Yay. Dear school board, Steve and team, thank you to everyone for your faithful service in each of your individual roles and all that you have accomplished. Thank you for your steadfastness and endurance in everything that came your way. I believe God will repay you for your losses and restore them both financially and emotionally. And for those staying behind, you have our full support for all that you do. Remember always that God is with you. God is definitely up to something, and we get to watch and wait and see what he reveals. I pray for you all and encourage you in your own way to keep fighting for our kids. And I want to say to the new school board, or the 5 individuals coming in, we will be praying for you as well, because we all desire unity and equality. And it takes all of us to come together and not to be pointing fingers or badgering or anything at all. But we need to come together and set the example for our kids and also for our community. And it takes all of us to do that. So those are some of my prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Next up, Bob Youngman.
Folks, this is time for community unity, like our last speaker. You've done an outstanding job. We'll continue to do an outstanding job. We have an outstanding superintendent. We have an outstanding leadership team, staff, outstanding in every area. Out here on the lawn tonight, great middle school band, typical. So you've passed recently policies and directives. You did that a couple of months ago, a couple of meetings ago. That sets a direction for us to continue. I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing the continuation of what you started. So compliment yourself. Thank the good Lord that you have accomplished so much. And pray that we continue to do that. In his name, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Next up is Susan Louthan.
Good evening, board. My name is Susan Louthan, as you said. I'm a retired middle school teacher. I've been retired 10 years. I put in 20 years in the middle school level. And I worked in several different schools. So being here in the school district in a different role has been really interesting, how school has changed from the 10 years that I have been out. And it's really sad and it's disappointing. However, we've had a great school board, and I want to thank you, each one and every one of you, for your service since I've been coming, which is just this last year. And I know some of you have only been here this year, but you have accomplished so much in the midst of extreme persecution from a group here in town that doesn't even realize what they're doing. I will give them the benefit of the doubt that when you guys have been attacked and in your personal lives and in your character, that's not who these people are. I grew up in this town. I have been here all my life. I graduated from Newburgh High School. I graduated from George Fox. I taught here, I taught elsewhere. And the roots go deep and they're strong. And I know I am not the only one that has stayed throughout their life in this town. There's a group of us that is willing to work together to bring back what we had in the past, only make it better. It wasn't the best in the past, but we knew who we were. We were small town America. We had gatherings. We met in the park. We went to the parade. We had the band concerts, and everybody showed up and everybody liked each other. And there was a time in 2017 where everything changed nationally and globally. In 2017, we had two people running for presidents. And during that time, our world fell apart. People started
That's
attacking
time.
each other. Okay, thank you. Can I have a couple more seconds to finish?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. In that time, we became someone else. Our whole town did, and our whole nation did. And I am hoping and praying with everyone else that's praying that we come together as a group, that we find that unity. We don't have to agree on everything. We do have to agree that our kids are number one right now, and what's happening worldwide is not okay for them to grow up in and change their whole what they think is important. What we know is important is we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice, and we will fight for that liberty. We will fight for that freedom. And we want to partner with the school board to do that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Susan. Next up is Chris Irwin.
Well, this will be quick, but I just wanted to thank the board for all the work that they've accomplished over the past year. And I think if you look at the numbers that we've come up with, the scores that our students have accomplished, and I know they have some big goals for next year. So I just hope they keep up. And one of the big assets is hiring Dr. Phillips as our superintendent. I think he's brought a lot of great programs and accomplishments for our whole district. So anyway, I just wanted to say you guys are all appreciated, and thanks for all of your hard work and all the great hours you put in. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Our last speaker into the microphone is Daphne Williams.
Hello, everyone. My comments are regarding the teaching of gender ideology in school curriculum under the guise of cultural relevance. Edmund Burke once said that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. We cannot sit back and do nothing with predators abound. Predators who are attempting to involve children in their delusions about reality and in their delusions and sexual fantasies and to invert natural order. There is no one here who's above natural order, and none can override it. A man will never be a woman will never be a man, and ill-conceived notions and opinions have no place in school curriculum. School is meant to uphold the basic tenets of our world. We are here to ensure that children have a solid foundation on which to build from. When we allow ideology to interchange the irrefutable facts of left and right, up and down, male and female, how can children build from that confusion? How can they grasp at or make sense of their realities? What business have we discussing the intricacies of sexual nature of a person in their early childhood? Should this not be the responsibility of a parent to discuss such personal matters with their own children rather than that of the state? Indoctrination within the education system is becoming commonplace, and I know that many disagree with it, but few stand and fight against it. Please know that these ideologies are not harmless. They minimize very serious issues, which are in fact matters of life and death. These ideas are leading children to feel safe taking dangerous puberty blocking medications that cause castration, permanent damage, cancer, developmental issues, and the high rates of suicide, contrary to the narrative of those in favor. As a woman in a committed relationship with another woman, I speak on behalf of the gay community, many in the gay community, who believe this indoctrination must end and ideology must be left out of school curriculum. Please let children be children and let parents be parents. Thank you.
My last time as board chair to get to address the people that have the courage to come up to the microphone, not all 8 of you. Whether you agree with somebody or not, that's always been our rule here, and I'm sure it'll continue on with the next board, where the comments that come up here for a couple of minutes, the courage it takes to stand before a microphone is tremendous. A lot of people can't do it. they can't do it. And so they don't do it. And it's too bad because a lot of people need to bring their voice up and say stuff. So again, tonight, whether it's one side or not, whatever's said, you have to respect people for just saying how they feel. And so I appreciate that. I also say that we just need to keep listening and talking and leave the anger out. So again, all 8 people, thanks for coming to the microphone. It takes a lot of guts. Any letters? Any letters? We have no letters tonight, so first time for one.
Oh, sorry, no, we want to bump.
Yeah. So we can change something a little bit here because Jillian has to do something on surplus here. We're going to get her in and out quick because she got a little baby to get home to. So Jillian, you're ready?
Thank you. Enclosed in the board packet, you will find a list for your approval for items that we are looking to surplus. These items are all outdated curriculum. A lot of the items are coming out of the high school textbook depository, predominantly in the world language department, because we just adopted a new world language curriculum. And we are looking for your approval on those surplus items, which will go for sale to the public, I believe, on June 30th.
I move that the Newburgh School District Board of Directors approve the list of items to be surplus as presented.
No, second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thanks, Jillian. Go home. Get out of here. All right, then we're gonna go right back down our list. We have the 2023-24 budget adoption resolution from Heather Bixby.
So in your board packet is the request to adopt the budget for the 23-24 school year. With the change that I mentioned earlier, the addition of the 40,000 in revenue and expenditures.
I move to adopt the 2023-2024 budget as amended.
Got a second? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. So everybody knows there was a budget committee of community members as well as board members, and there was a lot of work. So it wasn't just this little thing right there. So there was many meetings on that one. So Heather, thank you. And you are got another one here. ESSER funds, right?
Yeah, so in addition to that, we also need to approve the permanent tax rate.
So
Yeah, I'll move to levy the ad valorem taxes for debt services at $6,492,400. Is that the one we're on?
no,
We're on
number,
the-
you gotta do number 2 first. So the motion number 2 is I move that the permanent tax rate of the ad valorem taxes of 4.6616 per thousand be applied to the taxable property within the district as determined by the Emerald County, Clackamas County, and Washington County tax assessors for the 2023-2024 year.
Yeah. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Now we go.
All right, it's my turn. Motion number 3. I move to levy the ad valorem taxes for debt service at $6,492,400.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Heather, you're explaining things really well.
Okay, so the next item that I have for you is request, I guess I need board approval. ODE requires board approval for any capital expenditure over $25,000 that is going to use ESSER funds. And so I have 2 projects related to HVAC controller modules that need to be replaced. One of them is for, I should have brought my glasses, $48,202 here at the district office. The other one is for $208,942 at Ewing, 72 at Ewing Young. And both of these projects were initially slated for additional funding either through capital improvements or the bond. But as the ESSER money is running out and we're needing to spend some of that additional money so we don't have to turn it back, we are proposing that since these are qualifying expenses, we pay for them out of the ESSER 2 funds that will expire in September.
I move that the Newburgh School District Board of Directors approve the HVAC upgrades to the district office and Ewing Young Elementary using ESSER 2 funds as presented.
Second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Heather, you good to go? Okay, Dr. Phillips, you are up.
If I could have one more minute back on the budget, it looks like one item was missed on that, and that was the establishing the fund balance policy, which is our GASB requirement, which assigns the fund balances that are left over at the end of the year so that they stay within the funds that they were originally budgeted in. So this would be like our capital project funds, our bond funds, scholarship funds, student body funds. And it states that the only unassigned balance that the district has is in the general fund, which is common policy. So I do need a motion on that one as well. So on the actual resolution, 2020.
And that is per the recommendation from the audit.
This is actually an annual
Okay.
requirement per GASB that we need to make sure that we're assigning our fund balances. So the motion is on the back that we classify the assignment of ending fund balances.
I think we're missing that text. Okay, be it resolved.
Yes.
So the board, so I guess the motion is that the board designates the authority to classify the assignment of ending fund balances to the superintendent and to the director of finance. Second.
Is that correct, Heather?
Yes.
Got it. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Yes. Sorry. Please raise your right hand. Trevor. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Now I'm done.
You good? Don't need another minute? Okay, now we have Dr. Phillips.
So in your packet, there are two letters, one from Ken Austin and Lonnie Parrish from Austin Industries, one from Northwest Christian Church, and then there's a map. And if you look at this map, what the map represents is up in the right-hand corner is Joanne Austin Elementary. And then in the bottom right side there is Northwest Christian Church. And then the big white building on the left, that's George Fox, I think, Tennis Center, possibly. At the northern and well, I don't know if it's northern.
Right in the middle-ish, kind of.
Yeah, kind of right in the middle of the parking lot at the church. If you go left, you see those trees. There's a rectangle there that is not quite an acre. It's 0.96 acres. The school district owns it. What the Austin family, Ken and Lonnie, have asked, their family gave us this land years ago, is we're not using it. It's, if you can see there, it's trees and it's blackberry bushes and it's kind of a mess. Is to run the fence from the parking lot all the way across to George Fox. And so that 0.96 acres, then if you can, it goes into the church. And what the church wants to do with that is to build a building that would be an extra gymnasium in the community. But more than that, it is a shelter for emergency. If there's a Cascadia event or something like that, they're going to have water filtration. They're going to have beds. They're going to have food. It's going to be something huge for the community. Austins are in favor of it. They've got the letter of support here. Earlier, I saw Forrest. Forrest, Forrest, you mind coming up? Forrest is from Northwest Christian. I met with him a couple weeks ago, and David Case. So if I'm messing this up, please save me. But I think we're not using it. And in fact, our principal at JA at times says she wishes she had a fence up there, because sometimes during playtime, the kids are playground and they run up there and kind of hide, and it's not good. I also think it's a great opportunity for us to give back a little bit. Northwest Christian Church gives a lot to the community. They give a lot to the school. The Austins do as well. It's something we're not using. I would love to be able to partner on something where we actually give something rather than always take. So I think it's a great idea. I'm fully in support of it. It would take a lot line adjustment, which just means you pick up the lot and you move it. It could take a couple weeks, I think Forrest said. He's already done all the legwork, ready to roll with it. Needs a board motion.
I move that the Newburgh School District Board of Directors approve the Joan Austin lot line adjustment with Northwest Christian Church as presented.
I'll second.
Before we go to vote, any discussion from the board members? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I just have one question, Dr. Phillips. Is anyone opposed to this? Have you?
Well, we haven't, broadcasted or anything like that, so I can't really answer that. Nobody I've talked to is opposed to it, but to be fair, I've only talked to a handful of people.
Okay.
I've talked to a couple city council members that think it's great because it is something that the community needs. But it wouldn't be fair or honest for me to say I've talked to 20 people.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say that we're not using it and we're not maintaining it?
Correct. In fact, one thing I forgot, or she should have caught me on this. One thing I forgot was they plan on using part of the property for this building, but the rest of it they'll clean up and have a little nature trail and have like a outside learning lab that they can use for some of their programs, but the school could use as well. So it'll clean it up. It'll be a space that the school can actually use, where now we don't use it at all.
Okay.
And of course, they'll use it for the community with the shelter.
Okay. Thank you.
I think my comment was the Austins don't ask often, and it was their land to begin with. So I've got a motion and a second. So all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Carry 7-0.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Forrest.
Thanks, Forrest. Okay, a bit of trivia that only Ron Riley will know that there used to be Judy Gray's house up there on that knoll. Remember that? Yeah, that was one of my sister's close friends, and they lived right there in that spot right there. You didn't know that, did you?
I have
No.
Wow.
I drove up there many times. All right, the next thing we have is the Edwards easement that Larry and Casey were speaking to earlier. So
I move that the Newburgh School District Board of Directors approve the Edwards Elementary School waterline easement as presented.
All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Carry 7-0. All right, we're moving along. Next up, we're at student representatives, board and superintendent comments. So let's say, do you have anything to say over there tonight? You've been awfully quiet.
I don't really have much to say, but I did want to thank all of you board members. You guys have been so kind to me and Moya. We didn't really know what we were doing, and that we really appreciated all of your guys' feedback and like the help that you gave us and the support. Yeah, we're really excited. I was really happy to see those standardized testing scores improve. I honestly can say that I noticed a shift in attitude towards them at the school too, which is something that you can't really measure. But just when I'm walking around the school, hearing people talk about the testing, it's not all bad, and people aren't talking about how they just skipped right through it. And so I feel like, I mean, I just really think that that shows, like, not only do we do good, but just like the whole, like, a big root problem of it is starting to change, which I think is really cool. And I'm excited to see more improvement.
Well, we thank you for all the time you come in here and all the time you spent. So thank you. You can tell your friend same thing for us, okay? I saw her the other night at graduation. So, well, we go to board comments. So I'm gonna start with you, Shelley. We'll just go this way.
I just want to, first of all, say thank you, everybody, for coming and all your comments. It has been my absolute honor to serve on the Newburgh School Board this year. And I've enjoyed working with our terrific executive staff, dedicated teachers. I respect even more what they do after spending time with them and listening to them. The devoted parents, caring parents, exceptional students, and the other committed board members. It's been an honor. I'm also happy that during the campaign, our incoming board members vowed to listen to all parties, put kids before politics, and that many expressed their support and desire to work with Dr. Phillips. This is really important because in doing so, you can help our district to thrive. And I think you're all sincere. So I wish you nothing but the best. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks, Shelley. Raquel, you're up.
Yeah, what an honor it was to serve here. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to, just volunteer my time and skills is something that I enjoy doing. Even facing some pretty horrible things that happen. People coming after my work because of my opinion, and attacks that are completely, based on politics and not on, hey, I want to volunteer my time to help something, and having that be done with, it's God's will. And it was his will to put me here. It is with his will that I will have this time back with my family. But I do feel a very big sense of accomplishment because I had my hands in hiring you, Dr. Phillips. So I take that as a big thing that I carry from a great experience to bring you over here and see the OSAS result, because this is what it was about. It was about making sure that these kids that go to school here are learning, and we've saw that happen. So I will continue to serve in other places that I am already involved, and that'll be good. So again, it was a pleasure working with all of you guys, and I wish nothing but the best for the future. So thank you.
Thanks, Raquel. Renee.
Okay. Well, it has been a pleasure working besides these 5 board members. Some of them for 2 years and some only for 1. I am very proud of all that we have done together while being on this board. Some have gone through great trials and tribulations, being attacked and bullied. They never gave up or quit, but continued on standing on what they believed in for our kids, schools, staff, and community. It's been quite the journey, and I'm praying for all the new board members that will be taking their places for continued great things. These new board members ran on wanting to improve literacy, having our schools safe, with a high quality education being well-rounded and comprehensive, being financially responsible, having board integrity with moving forward together as a board. And of course, putting students first. I am looking forward to working beside them and continuing and achieving these goals together. Ron, Shelley, Raquel, Brian, and Dave, it has truly been a proud pleasure. Blessings to you all in whatever God has in store for you next.
Thanks, Renee. Mr. Riley.
Well, I'm going to break with protocol here. I'm not going to eulogize yet because we have one more ride to take. So I'll say my farewells in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll be on board comments.
But by the way, well, that's okay.
This is it.
This is it.
Are you not going to be here? Are you not going to be here?
I will be.
Okay, because you said this is our last meeting together.
Oh, did I say that?
Huh?
Today is the last day that we do board comments.
Yeah.
Next will be a work session.
Yeah,
And we
then
will
we're
not
done.
have.
but I think
board
we'll still
comments.
talk to each other.
We're so old, we'll
Yes.
probably let them make a comment anyway.
No, you can't talk to us anymore.
Don't forget what you're going to say in 2 weeks, though. Remember, okay, write it down.
You can send us.
Trevor DeHart, you are up.
Yeah, I have a couple of things to say. First, outstanding job to all the people in the team that went into improving our test scores. And I would say this, obviously the work's not done there, right? We have goals to attain, to strive for, and to celebrate when we achieve them. I will say this, I think we have to be purposeful about developing our culture. And I think we need to really feed on the success that we've had that were presented tonight in the test scores and stuff. And I think that, being purposeful in cultivating that culture means developing pride. And we should be celebrating in each of the schools the successes that we've had at it. And I think that that'll feed on itself, right? I think that when the kids can see the excitement and that there's something to be proud of, it's going to feed subsequent years in which testing occurs. And so I would encourage all the employees to take advantage of that and to celebrate it. Not just that we finished the testing, but that we did great things in it and they did great things in it. So continue to celebrate those wins. Thank you for the outgoing board members. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your friendship. And to the new board members, it's encouraging to see, I think, I don't know if Saul was here, but I think all the other four were here. So Nancy, Debbie, James, and Jeremy. Is he here? I saw him earlier. Hey, thanks for attending. Look forward to swearing you guys in July and working with you, the new board. I did have one of the incoming board members reach out to me. We approved on the consent agenda tonight, Dr. Phillips' new contract. And I had a conversation with this individual incoming board member before, and she really talked about maybe moving that to a different part of the agenda to have discussion. Just so people know, when we give Dr. Phillips, our superintendent, the annual review, when we discuss contracts, it's in executive session. All the board members were there. And so this wasn't something that we were trying to keep hidden. So and that board member also said, it's something to be celebrated. And I will say this, you've done an outstanding job, Dr. Phillips. Your presence in the schools, your encouragement, your active engagement, not only in hiring, but in development of your employees is encouraging. And I know that when we had discussions on the community outreach, talking with students, parents, and teachers, that was something that was said, that it's refreshing to see the superintendent out in the schools being active. And to see things like this, the bands playing on the front lawn. I think to showcase the successes and the learning that goes on needs to continue. It's something that we should be proud of. And so I'll say this, your contract that's for the next 3 years is well deserved. Your performance over the last year has been outstanding, and I look forward to working with you and seeing the great things that you and your staff will do in the future. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Trevor. Dr. Stan.
Oh, this is one of those moments that goes by in an instant, and then you look back and dwell on it for the next 10 years, right? But that is what it is. First, I just want to thank the community and the voters who elected me in 2019 and sustained me during the recall. It's been an absolute honor to serve you. I ran promising that I would come in here and try to reform a system that the community seemed to broadly agree was not working properly. You know, I won the 2019 election with 63% on that message. And I can sit here earnestly and say, I tried my damnedest to live up to that promise. And, you know, the first 2 years didn't really have a lot of opportunity to do much. But when I look at where we were 2 years ago and where we are now with the accomplishments that this board has managed in only 2 years, I'm so just immensely filled with pride. I mean, you look at those test scores are my legacy. That's what I will remember from this, is that we showed that when you focus on student achievement, you can actually accomplish student achievement, but you need focus. You can't have 1,000 different priorities. You can't have racial justice and this and that and every other thing. You need focus. Just focus on student achievement, reading, writing, science. That's what parents are sending their kids to our schools to learn. It's not for climate activism. It's not for LGBT rights. It's not for racial injustice. It's to learn the basics of education so they can have a decent life, so they can have a career, so they can provide their families, okay? And I hope that the evidence tonight is so overwhelming that the incoming board members have to realize that we're on to something here. And you can come in and break it if you want. You can come here and just trash the place if that's what you want to do. You know, I'm sure there are lots of folks who would love to see that. But the kids are the ones that will suffer if you do that. We're finally making progress in this district. We were running this district off of Excel spreadsheets for our budgeting 4 years ago. Do you know how insane that is? So I'm very proud of what we accomplished in these 2 years. I'm immensely proud. I will carry this with me to the end of my life, what we managed to do. And I hope that the incoming members will have enough sense to take the win. You know, you'll get all the credit if you come in here and you just don't break the damn thing and help let it keep running in the direction it's going, which is the right direction down the tracks. Just do that and you get all the credit. I don't need any of it. You'll take it all. Just don't break it, please. Support this superintendent. He is focused on our students. He is focused on student achievement. And it's the first time we've had that in a decade in this district. Please don't screw that up. And to the last public speaker we had who's concerned about gender ideology in our schools, I could not agree with you more. It's poison, and the tap that pours it into our schools is in Salem. It's not this board. It's not our superintendent. It would not make a lick of difference if this was a conservative board or a progressive board or a centrist board. It's coming from Salem. So what I suggest to every parent who has a student in our public schools is that you write in tomorrow and opt your kids out of the comprehensive health education in Oregon. Do that. It is not worth the risk to your children to not do it. And with that, I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Well, we've had a lot of people be emotional tonight. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. It's been a pleasure of mine too, Brian, for 4 years to serve with you. There's nobody I'd rather done it with than you. I appreciate it. We met in Bend, didn't even know who you were. We lived 6 blocks from each other in this community. I'm going to start off just saying graduation Friday night was amazing. Mark Brown, Tammy Iron did a great job at the high school. The kids were awesome. Mark got it done in 92 minutes. Joel Tanner in the band. Afterwards, you know, it was just positive all the way through. There was just nothing going wrong. Some of the kids had some pretty funny stuff to say with the kids up there speaking, the valedictorians. Afterwards, I just had family after family after family. I'm wearing my robe and everything, and they wanted me to take pictures. And it was just fun. You know, I didn't know most of them. There's, hey, you look like you can hold a camera. So I got to do that. That was super fun. So you never know how graduation is going to go. And the weather was way better this year than it was last year. I was going to say to Deb, Jeremy, Nancy, Saul, and James, you'll have my full support as we move forward, because there's only one way to do this, and that's take the high road. And I think when you have an election in a town like Newburgh, and I've been through a bunch of these things last 4 years, never thinking I'd ever want to get back in public school after 20 years there. That elections are what they are. And, you know, elections are always going to be a little dicey. People are going to say stuff. People are going to do stuff. But now it's time to move on. I'm excited I know Deb and Saul the best. And I'm excited to let them come in and have their shot. You know, it's like we all are replaceable all the time. It's just going to keep happening over and over and over. And so, you know, as a coach, I hate to lose, but I'm also excited about where, you know, when Saul gets up, Saul's got a great heart, you know. I agree with Brian a lot. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff moving in the right direction, and it'll be exciting to see how the not totally new board, because Trevor and Renee will be here, but how everybody works together and just keep moving forward, keep doing the right stuff for people. And we got to get rid of people that are, not get rid of people. We got to stop the negativism, because it just tears it down. It moves us backwards, and then you take 2 steps forward and take 3 steps back. And I think in elections, some of that stuff happens. That's what makes it kind of bad. But I'll support you guys. I'll come to a board meeting. I'm not going to come in here and yell at like I got yelled at. I'm not going to come in and write nasty letters to you. I'll never do that. I just don't think it's the right way for us to move forward. Because when you look at this young lady over here, that's not what she wants. And it's all about her. It's not about us. We're just here to serve for a short period of time in our lives. We definitely don't get paid. So if we focus on the kids, you know, because I know what she wants to do. She wants to play lacrosse, hang out with her friends, get a good education in Newburgh, and move on. And that's just what they want to do. And that's what our job as a board is, and leaving the politics out of it, which is hard to do in Newburgh at this time. So again, congratulations to you guys. Won't get in your way, promise you. It's a different time in Newburgh than it was 4 years ago. And it's just gonna be a different time to be on the board. When Brian and I first started, it was totally different than it is now. I can't even imagine. It's been such a pleasure these last number of months to work with you guys and not have the drama that Brian and I saw a few years back. You know, I remember sitting there for an hour and a half and having people scream at me for an hour and a half. It was not awesome. I think that, you know, right now, you know, we have a lot to look forward to. We have excellent staff members. Dr. Phillips is, when we first talked, it was, as board chair, is raise the bar. You know, that's what I've coached for a long time. I still am an active coach in Canby, and every kid tells me every single time the next interview is raise the bar, push me, make me go harder, make me go faster, make me a better person. Don't let me be mean, you know, to my teammates. They want a high bar. And I think that's our job as board members. Again, I appreciate you guys a ton. Dr. Phillips, Scott, Heather, Tabitha. It's been an absolute honor to work with you guys. We're going to move forward good. It's going to be good. And you only have one board meeting a month, so you don't have to stay up late too much. So that's all my comments. I appreciate you letting me go a little bit long. So with that said, Dr. Phillips, you got to speak finally. I remembered.
All right, I have quite a bit to say tonight. A lot of positive stuff. I want to open with the Mountain View Middle School Band, jazz band that we saw today. That was awesome. When I asked Mr. Christensen if he would do that, it took him about 5 seconds to say yes. Tell me when, I'll be there. And I appreciate him for that. Lucia and Moya, good job. Make sure you tell her that for me tomorrow. I'm sure I'll see her before the year's out, but thanks for your help. And you know, you push back at times and I appreciate that. So good job. And those scores, that's on you, right? You're a junior, so good job. She's Jillian Daly. She didn't know I was going to do this. She's our new communication director. So thank her for being here. She's been on board for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. All right. She's great. The audit, unmodified audit, which means you passed, basically. And that's because of Heather and Becky and Nancy. So thank you. Good work. Now I'll burn through some stuff. June 8th, I went to the Catalyst graduation. It was a few board members were there, Raquel and Trevor. It was great. It was a lot of fun. It's a small enough graduation that they were able to talk about each graduate a little bit, and that made it special. Appreciate Chris Stevens and his staff there for the work they do with those kids. The high school graduation was June 9th. It was a good time as well. I agree with Board Chair Brown. It was fun, and I enjoyed that. The CEL graduation, we had 3 special students graduate from CEL this year, and in a way, those kids and those young people, young adults, and their parents graduated. So that was really neat. Some highlights real quick from the graduating class. There are 343 graduates. There was $110,000 in scholarships that was given out from local scholarships. So local community, $110,000. That says a lot about Newburgh. 10 valedictorians, which means they had 10 4.0s, 1 salutatorian, 1 National Merit Scholar, that's Palmer Thompson. That is a big deal. 21 honors diplomas, 23 members of National Honor Society, 6 foreign exchange students, and 27 of those high school graduates also graduated with a seal of biliteracy, which means they can speak, write, listen, Spanish and English both. Pretty amazing. 27 kids there. Athletic department for this year. Coach of the year was Brian Wood. He's our principal at Ewing Young right now, and he was our boys lacrosse coach. Assistant coach of the year, Mark Johnson, is with boys basketball. Outstanding male senior athlete of the year, Hudson Davis. Outstanding female senior athlete of the year, Kylie Harris. And the Carolyn DeCrevel Award, which is the highest award they give out to students at the high school for character, commitment, and dedication. It was given to Mercy Starling, Claire O'Shea, and Anthony Geisch. A little bit more about sports. We have 25 teams at our high school, and 20 of them made it to state. That's pretty neat. That's 80%. Cheerleading got their 10th state championship this year. Boys water polo and wrestling finished second in state. We had 5 league championships this year. We had 6 teams that placed in the top 10 at state. Real quick, a lot of you probably know Brian Wood, principal at Ewing Young. He has agreed to move to Crater next year. So he will be the principal there. I'm looking forward to that. I appreciate Brian for accepting that position, and looking forward to working with him there. Also look forward to working with the Ewing Young staff, Ewing Young community to help find their new leader. That position is open. We've got about 10 candidates right now, 10 applicants right now, and we'll let the school year end, and then we'll fill that position. Want to thank Larry and Casey for their work on the bond. Anytime a bond is on time and on budget, that's something to be proud of and happy with. So as this year wraps up, I can't help but reflect a little bit on this year. And there's been some challenges this year. The busing issues were not fun. Staffing shortages. Of our 10 buildings, 8 of them had new administrators. The district office is almost entirely new. Bond construction across the district makes the high school probably suffered the most, but it makes classes different, and some programs got put on pause for a while, and just a divided community. And so despite all that, I think we did pretty darn well. I think this year we had an excuse to lay an egg, and we didn't. And as you heard from Brittany and Jillian, they're just getting started. They know it's awesome what they've done and what all the teachers have done and kids have done and families have done and all these community partners, but they know we're just getting started. And that's exciting to me. So we have a passed budget. It's focused on academic achievement, and I am excited for 23-24. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Phillips. Carolyn Crevel Award. She started in 1960 and was a staff member for about 40 years. So when you talk about that award, it's pretty special if you've had anything to do with Newburgh. Carolyn has been one of the biggest supporters the last 20 years, but she just continues to volunteer. She never goes away. And so she just keeps working and working and working and working. She's got red hair. You'll see her all the basketball games, wrestling matches and everything. So more and more people need to kind of do that. She gave me a racket from 1932 because she was the tennis coach for a long time. And she had about 80 girls on 2 courts playing tennis back in 1960. So she's a cool lady. With that said, our future agenda items is a swearing in of new board members on July 11th. I will try to be there if I can. And then we've also got board member training. Well, you guys have board member training. I'm going to be playing golf. Also on 7/11 with OSBA and Dr. Phillips and Dr. Scott. And then future board meetings, the work regular session is June 27th. It goes down to 1 meeting a month. And that's going to be really good for the district office staff. And that obviously will be the new schedule moving forward. And then the regular session is the 11th, obviously. So there's still 2 meetings in July. And with that said, we had a little bit longer meeting. We're an hour and 55 minutes. That's your fault, Trevor. So thanks for everybody for coming tonight, staying late, and appreciate everybody. Meeting's adjourned. Go.